everyone. I don't know when you're going to get to see this bit of video, but I'm videoing it because I need to talk about it. So I'm here with Boots. So Boots is here on schooling livery at the moment, and then his owner plans to maybe keep him with me a bit more longer term, depending on what happens with her work. Anyway, that's neither here nor there, but he is here on schooling livery. So I have been working with Boots and his owner Helen for a while now. She came to me because she needed a different way to train. So she has been training with the same person for a while, and it wasn't working, basically. The cycles the horse was in were quite negative, and they were becoming more negative rather than improving. So Helen decided that she needed to change something, and she had to be pretty brave because the person she was training with also owned her yard. So she decided that she wanted to change some stuff, and I say good for her, because regardless of whether she chose to train with me or not, she was doing the right thing for the horse. Now, when Boots was at that yard, he had suspected breathing problems. He would never blow out. He would always seemingly a bit hold his breath, and then quite often would cough. Now, the surface in their arena was a little bit dusty, but not horrific. And the hay was fine, but not horrific. And it's very, very interesting. So we started working in the groundwork. So we worked in the groundwork when I first met Helen, and we worked a lot on encouraging Boots to move his body in a more positive way. But when I say that there was no reaction, it was like, I don't know, it was very interesting, because Boots was very glued down almost. It was like he wasn't he wasn't present, he wasn't there, he was gone somewhere else. And we worked in the groundwork, and it was very positive, and it really helped. And then the ridden work improved, and Helen was like, wow, I didn't know my horse could go like this, and she was so pleased with his progress. And then her circumstances changed slightly, so she wanted Boots to come to me for a while for schooling livery. So here he is, and I tell you what, it is remarkable how much the environment change has improved him. So he's now on dry hay. He was on soaked hay before because of the suspected breathing problem, but actually I think that the breathing problem was more like an anxiety-led problem rather than an actual physical feeling. And then the work now, although he had been better, he was still a bit kind of subdued and he didn't quite have a personality yet. Whereas now, he is ears forward, taking me around the arena, picking his feet up. He used to really drag his toes, and he's really changed in himself. So what I'm trying to say is, sometimes it's the training, which I think it has been partially, and also it can be the environment. You know, the barn, sorry, my arm really hurts when I hold my phone up like that. My barn is very open plan, and you can see the other horses, and it's very light and airy. So sometimes, and this hasn't been the first horse to come here and really see an improvement in their demeanour, but sometimes a change of environment and a change of training and a change of mindset completely is so important. So Boots has been here now for 4 or 5 days, and we did a lot of groundwork in the arena, so just going through the patterns on the ground that we had learned when I was training with Helen at home. And then I then brought him down today, put him through the pattern, and then I got on. And now I've just done some arena hacking now for the last 5 minutes while I was filming this. But I'm going to go and give him a little bit of work and see how he's feeling. I'll try and prop my phone up on the fence so you guys can see. But yeah, just really impressed with him, really pleased with him, and just so nice to see him breathing and blowing out and generally being more horse-like rather than shut down and not very happy.
So this is a really poor bit of video, but you can see he's stretching down and he's working over his back, but he's never really tracking up properly. He's quite tight and short in the neck, and the feeling I had in the rein wasn't actually very positive. You know, he was quite kind of missing in the contact, and he was never taking the rein out and forward. You can see he's quite curled up in the connection. And I think I do some cantering. Yeah, the canter is very weird. It was like the back legs are a bit tied together. It feels very short striding and very kind of lumpy. It didn't feel smooth like a whole cycle in the canter. It wasn't terrible, and it was an improvement from where he was previously, but it definitely wasn't as good as it could be when he first started. So this was about 2 weeks into Boots being with us, and we decided to do some pole work, and you can see he's just really not confident to take that first stride, and here he breaks to canter and wants to canter rather than trot. Still just not really tracking up, not coming swinging over his whole back, short in the neck. And it was better when I could get him going slower, but yeah, he's still just, I couldn't push him forward, a bit swishing of the tail, a bit negative still. So we were working on lots of different things at the time, still keeping him going with the groundwork, making sure that he was feeling super comfortable in his body, and going through and ticking the more basic things off the list. So this horse had seen the vet and been scoped for ulcers, and he's clear of ulcers, but we did treat the hind gut with some omeprazole. So yeah, you can see he's starting to gain a bit more confidence, and I really praise him there. I'm going to talk a little bit in a moment actually about his health, because I think this is something that's really, really important. I'll shoehorn a bit of that in once this bit of me trotting about has finished. But yeah, you can see he's a bit behind the vertical, and he's not really using his core, taking that uneven step at the pole every time. This was some lunging I was doing with him early on, where I was just encouraging him to find this nice restful stretching down posture on his own. Took a little bit of flexion to the inside, and then he would stretch down.
But for a horse like him, just good boy, that was a yawn, to just put his head down like that, that's really good. Sit tight in your little face there. So just be careful where where the buckles sit.
Oh, okay.
Just make sure you haven't got two sitting next to each other, because he's got a bit of a headache going on. Which wouldn't surprise me if also him either. Good boy. And just him being lower and on the bit doesn't mean that you've necessarily got him better in the body. So for here, he's gone a little, for me here, he's gone a little below the vertical. So just take a little flexion to the outside, move the rib cage to the inside, soften the inside hand, rub him on the neck. That's better. He just tends to drop his nose down and then block you a little behind the saddle. Good. And then right leg coming on. And then sit and then canter. Soften the hand. Well done. You've got to get used to facilitating the canter forwards in the transition. Right bend. Well ridden. Good. Gone a little steppy. Think about pushing the hand up the neck a little to say, come on, stretch. There, good. Really starting to swing and push. And this rein, we're going to have to reward him attempting to be better, because we know this is harder for him. Good. Well done. And the same thing on this rein. You just go to canter when you feel the body is swinging, when you feel the positivity that you want to feel. Good there. And you're going to give the inside hand when you canter. So you feel how this rein, that is so different. He really has to suck himself together to make the transition. But then the canter here, this is very good. And then a downward. Rub the neck. Good. He's kind of got to learn to canter in the downward transition without us pulling on our reins. Because when we pull on our reins, we shorten the neck and we create a kind of backward cycle. We've got to get him trotting forwards from the canter. Well done. Good. Outside flexion. Go on, move the body a little. Yeah, better. Move the body. Move him. Push him to the inside. You see, he switched the tail a little. He's like, oh, that's hard. Good, Helen. Good. Well done. That was nice there. Yeah. Trut, trut. No. And like the willing to go forward is something that's definitely changed. Yeah. Good boy. Tarot. Good boy. Because you think it's your brain says it might be the right thing to do. Think how you're doing things and why you're doing them. So here, a right rein to support. Keep a connection on both sides. Push forward. That's better. Push forward, keep the hands down and still. Yeah, much better. So you feel when you change something that he does tend to still suck back and go a little less confident in the trot, right? You can now fix that. It doesn't have to keep repeating. You can keep him more forward in the trot now. What's your right hand doing? Just be conscious of it. I'm asking you because I want you to become aware of what it's doing. Yeah, nice. Good job. But every time on that second turn, we're slightly losing the power. Think about the power. Yeah, good. That's better. Now ride forwards and into the corner. Right hand. Yeah, much better. Really nice there. Let's take a change of rein. Yeah. I'm also noticing how still he is in his mouth today. Really good. And now go for a bit more trot. Ride a bit more trot. That's good. Yeah, look at that. You know, he just didn't have those gears before. He didn't have that feeling of I can do it, you know, and I think this is what we're still working on. It's his self-belief that is so important. He's got to believe that he can do more with his body. So like up this long side, just a bit of outside leg, soften the inside hand there, and then bend again. But that is so much better. Take a trot transition, go change the rein. Use your voice. Okay, now come back down to trot. Did you ask him for that? No, so that's really important that now you come back to trot. Change the rein. Because he was doing this to me a little bit yesterday. He's a really good guesser. And he really needs to make sure that he listens and he waits, because otherwise, like there, he gets a bit upset. He comes to go to break and you're like, no, actually, it's not what I want you to do. So keep the right rein. There, good. Change the diagonal. Yeah, well done. And then we go to canter. So we're making sure that if he does what we don't want him to do, as in guess and take the trot into the canter, which is his seemingly comfort zone, despite his canter seemingly so, well, sometimes the canter looks difficult. Okay, back down to trot. Good. Out, so now wait, just rise. So try not to get stuck sitting trot. Change the diagonal again. Try not to get stuck in your sitting trot, because that can be a little confusing is the wrong word, but we want to keep him free over his back. So with the rising, we can do that. Now more forward in the trot. And canter. That's better, but you've got to make sure you don't grip your butt cheeks in the canter transition, because that's why you're getting that little scuttly feeling. Back to trot, outside rein. Oh, good boy. Now give him a little pat. Good. Now really focus on you being nice and loose when you pop up into canter. You don't need loads of canter transition, if that makes sense. You don't need to ask a lot. The key is in the forward trot before. Much better. Now the flexion, think about using the whole arena next time so that you can move the neck a little bit. Look somewhere else. That's it. Well done. Really, really good. And then a downward transition and a change of rein. And really focus on that change of rein, that you keep him into the connection in both hands, so that then you can bend him and put your leg on to create trot forward now. Watch what those hands do. Try not to let them do something that they don't. Yeah, well done. Good job. And okay, yeah, the trot got a little steadier before we got the rub him. Put your leg on. That's it. Be there to encourage him to feel a different way. Rather than it being, okay, he feels a little tight, I'm going to feel a little tight. Look somewhere else. Well done. Good. And now possibly bring him to trot so that you can help him feel better about what he feels not confident about. When the tension came, you could create a positive that then allowed you to then ride him past what it was that he felt negative about in a positive way, without having to bring him back down to trot before you did it. You're going to ride the transition again, and I want you to focus less on the inside bend and more on the outside rein. The body needs to be a little straighter there. Outside rein. Good. Yeah, because you see how hard that then makes it. He's then like, oh, I don't know if I can do that. And actually, that's what he needs to be able to do. So on this rein, I spend a lot of time slightly lifting my outside rein, keeping the connection on the outside and putting my outside leg on a bit. This is really, yeah, because there, you see how hard he then finds it. Don't let him fall out. Take the control of the shoulder. Now give the inside hand and praise him. Good. Super. Well done. Just a little bit, the push in the trot. Good boy. Maybe change the rein this way with the slightly harder change of rein. Think of the outside. Push him across and then half hold a little right rein. Good. Lovely change of bend there. Now put the power back in again. Very good, Helen. And then walk and praise him. That's really super. You could see a real positive difference from that. We'll be able to look back on the videos. He would previously take this little shuffling step before the poles, and now he's there like lifting his core, lifting himself up more, rather than let him little walk and a break for a moment. Really lovely to see him changing in his confidence when he's coming over the poles like that. Good, very nice. And then through the poles on the straight line, maybe ride a circle first. Good boy. And now just turn the hind leg, exactly. Put your leg on, push him around, rub the neck, outside hand. There, now repurpose it towards the poles. Good. That's a very different response now. To be able to put your leg on so quickly after you feel that negative energy is a real difference. That's something to remember yourself, you know, to maybe be writing down a little bit in your journal with him. So you're thinking to yourself, okay, actually, if he is a little spooky, I can help him so much more now. Good. Lovely. Now walk and praise him a moment. And that for me is a big change. Having that spooky moment where he would previously really rush off and lose his focus, and it would take us quite a long time to keep him walking. Take quite a long time to get him back to us. That's really good, Helen. Well done. And then we'll go and do another transition. Again, the same feeling, that fluid feeling. Absolutely. And you know, if it takes you 4 or 5 extra strides, I'd prefer that than that tension arising. Don't forget, you can ask him to be slower. You've just got to soften afterwards. Good. Rub him on the neck a little if you can. Good boy. And you can see, you know, he is worried about the wind and the hedge, but he's so much better in control of his body in that way. You can see him processing it in a different way completely now. Very good. And then walk and praise him, Helen. That's super there. And then a little pat for Helen too.
So here we have some video from me riding just last week or so. Really pleased with him. We still do have those same recurring problems, the tightness through the transitions, but they are improving massively. Apologies for the slightly cut up bit of video. Megan was sat on a horse, so it wasn't very easy for her to video me when I was behind her. But yeah, I was actually riding him in a different bridle this day, a pressure relief bridle that one of my other liveries has, just to test it out. I'd previously been riding him in a Micklem and really liked the Micklem, but I wanted to test this because it's meant to be sort of one up from the Micklem, but I didn't find it made a huge amount of difference, so I did return back to the Micklem after this day. But generally just happy with him, happy with how fluent he feels and how much he's swinging through his back in the canter. He previously used to feel like the back legs were actually just tied together in the canter transitions and in the canter. So to see him here swinging and using himself is really nice. I just keep him a bit long and a bit over his back in the frame, just not so, it's not a competition frame. You see there, he still just breaks into canter in a bit of a negative way. So I ask again, and then the next day's out and it's really positive. There's still a little tail swish, and I definitely think that we need to keep looking into this, but for the time being the behaviours are becoming much better, so I don't think that it's something that needs, it's not something really urgent as such, and we can keep working through it. The thing that's so nice is to see the push from behind. He's so much more forward, and that was a really lovely transition there. So nice to see him wanting to canter and staying so soft in his body now through these transitions.
Over. Good. Yeah, and there it's a little bit too quick in the upward transition in the trot. So then ride that again, but think about it being a smoother uphill rather than it being a quick sort of firing out. That's better. Outside rein. Yeah, really good. Much better there. How did that feel that time? Keep it small now. Keep it small. Good. And then bring it there. Good, Helen. And now keep it a bit bigger. Good boy. And a circle. Good. Well done. Push again. There. That used to involve canter. That used to just mean he'd go in the neck and then come to canter. And that's much better. Good. Okay, let's take a little walk break. It's just so nice seeing him holding himself so nicely, and the mouth is stiller, and the whole picture is just becoming more and more consistently better. And like I say, we still get the spooking. That's not necessarily just going to suddenly disappear, but the way that he deals with that is so much better, and the way he holds his body is so differently now. Should we go and have a little look at the canter? That you've had in the trot just now, that feeling of him pulling into the contact before you ask for the canter. Much better in the transition. All the time, your focus is to keep his back soft, okay? So whether that feels like you're making it a different feeling at the front end to help the back, that's what's got to happen. It's got to be coming from the middle of him so that his back behind the saddle is staying nice and loose. Good. Yeah, lovely. And okay, he still comes a little up in the neck, but nothing like he used to. Good, and then give him a little pat. Give him a little pat. That's it. Good. Keep your leg on. Support him. Put your leg on and ride a bend. Think about what you can do, not blocking. Good. Well done. Good stuff. Look where you want to look. That's it. You've got to keep your eyes up. Rub him on the neck with the outside hand. So you can keep the bend, but you can ask him where you want him to go. Inside leg, inside rein. Where are you looking? That's it. There you go. This is so much better. Now feel the roll in your hips. Feel that feeling. There we go. Now you're both in the room. So much better, Helen. And now just breathe out into trot. Yeah, lovely. That it's suddenly going to be perfect, but we can now help him. Where are you looking? That's better. Just do a little bit more of a half an inch more flexion to the inside when you're coming towards that corner, so that you can say, okay, let's go to 110% bending, and then as we go past the scary place, we can soften the bending a little bit. So extra bending here, extra, and now less. That's enough of a release for him to start understanding that that place that was previously rather frightening is actually now really nice, because you were saying, right, let's work hard here, let's work hard here with the bend, and then the release. Good. And there, it was a little bit slow on the release. The energy went up when you asked for the bend, and it's important that the bend is got a little earlier than that. Not that you suddenly, just before the corner, you increase the bend. So think about him having a fair amount of right bend. Good. Not crossing the hand. There. Good. Well done. Breathe. Feeling of breathing yourself. Good. Well done. That was super, Helen. Very nicely done. Good. Yeah, exactly. And then a downward transition. And take the bending. Push the inside leg. Good. And I tell you what is so nice is we're not seeing that funny canter trot feeling. that like feeling afterward. Push, 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 don't pull. There, good. And then I would come down to walk. Yeah, we're not getting that where he would canter then trot, and then he'd almost want to stay in canter with his back legs and trot with his front legs, and it would all become sort of disorganized and a bit neck short, back tight again. He's really finding that restfulness in the trot now. And how does the canter feel to you?
It feels a lot bigger.
Yeah. The back legs are starting to activate a bit more. Definitely. And
where it was all a bit, it's definitely more like this when he's in his transitions and when he's just canting around.
yeah, absolutely. I'm just really pleased with the progress that the horse has been making, and I just wanted to put in there that although we've been having recently the more normal checks, as in physio, dentist, saddle, he has had his back x-rayed and he has had he's been scoped for ulcers. So if you are thinking that maybe your horse behaves in a similar way and you want to make sure that you're doing everything that you can, then chat to your vet first, because all of what we've been talking about are essentially kind of the practical things, the day-to-day things that you can check up on. But if you are worried that your horse is suffering, then it's really important to do those checks with the vet first to make sure that there isn't something more sinister going on. Because yeah, if this is a wake-up call to anybody, if your horse is trying to tell you anything, if it's swishing its tail, if it's a bit negative, then it's really easy to miss and think that it's not something when it is. You know, the symptoms for ulcers are, the list is as long as my arm, because, well, not every horse is the same. So yeah, I hope you found this video interesting. Boots is still with me and not going anywhere, so there will be more progress of him. But for me, although it may not seem like a dramatic change, the change in the horse's persona has been huge, and his general attitude is so much better to all of it. So I will continue to share this journey with you guys. So if you did like the video from me and Harry, please do give it a like, give it a little share, and I will see you guys next time. Bye for now.